We bought our land in the fall of 2021, hoping to break ground before Christmas. After purchasing, we had months of back and forth with our township and DEP on requirements and our septic permit. We weren't even able to submit for a building permit until January 2022. Here's a recap. So we just left the township meeting and we are a little bit down in the dumps.
We have our hat in our hands here. We're kind of stymied by this, obviously. We are just hovering like a balloon. Nobody's impatient, but everybody's like, hey, are we gonna build this?
Well, everybody, after 8 months, a handful of sleepless nights, and countless trips to the township, we did it. We got a permit. Let's build a house. Well, folks, I thought a moment of silence was in order. You're watching our first steps towards building our house. It feels good to be out here. What we're doing here is meeting the soil erosion standards around our building site. These standards require us to place reinforced silk sock around the foundation. Silk sock is used for sediment control, pollutant filtration, and mostly for stormwater management. This material will protect our foundation from flash flood and erosion. Next, we installed the orange construction fence perimeter, which just creates a barrier for materials and machinery on the job site. Well, as jacked up as Smitty, Amy, and I are, there's a couple things we have to get done first before we actually start building the house to ensure we have a good quality build. And one of those is we have to remove all the dead trees on the property, as well as the 2 silver maples that are actually in the way of the foundation. The second thing we have to do is reinforce the bridge that's on that long stretch of driveway we have. The bridge was set up in a way that we weren't comfortable sending 20-ton concrete trucks and stone trucks across. So we have to reinforce that. And the third thing we'll have to do is back drag the grounds to make sure we have a great start for setting our lines and digging a hole. So let's get to it. There are numerous ways that tree surgeons remove trees, but McDonald's Tree Service used a couple techniques to ensure safety and efficiency. Their first step in bringing these silver maples down was taking a throw bag and a throw line and casting the line up into the canopy around a strong limb in the tree. What you're seeing here is a technique they used to throw that bag effectively. I don't know much about taking down trees, but I do know this throw is harder than it looks. Once the throw line is set and the nylon rope is tied, they use the rope to pull the falling tree or limbs in the exact direction they want it to go. Here's a shot of them teaming up to pull down a portion of the silver maple tree. Now, with larger caliber limbs and the tree itself, they've even used the skid steer as the anchor point to pull down the tree. After this, they trim the tree with the chainsaws in the bucket truck and let them fall. Lastly, the skid steer traverses the property, grabbing down limbs and any removed vegetation and loads it into their chipper. Then, they grind the tree stumps and load the logs that won't fit in their chipper. Just a small spoiler alert, these logs will be going on our sawmill sooner rather than later. Once I learned their process, I got out of the way and let them do their thing.
When Matt and Smitty came home and said that our bridge would not hold 20 plus tons of stone that needed to be carried to the property, I was like, oh, snap. What do we do? And then Smitty did what he usually does. He called a guy. And that guy was O'Rourke Steel. And they helped us come up with a plan to reinforce the bridge. They even offered up one of their best foremen, local ball player and family friend, Dan Coleman, to assist with the installation. Matt was so pumped that day. He kept sending me videos of the progress. Like, Amy, this is cool as... So in order to fortify the bridge, they had to first drop the steel, then clear and level the area where the steel would be welded to the bridge. Next, Dan sanded the paint off the steel tube to ensure there would be metal-to-metal contact when he welded it to the bridge. Then, he clamped the steel to the bridge with it extending 2 feet past each side to use the ground as an anchor. Finally, he welded the metal tube to the bridge itself, with the anchor points securely in place. Thanks to Dan and O'Rourke Steel for more than doubling the weight capacity of this bridge and giving us peace of mind as we proceed with construction.
Now that the bridge is completed, we're able to bring the excavator's loader up to the property. This is the machine that we're going to use to dig out the hole for the foundation. This boy is definitely heavy enough to ruin a weak bridge. Well, first, the excavator started with back-dragging the construction site driveway. We'll drop a bunch of stone on this for vehicle traction later. Next, we moved all the sizable boulders that were left on the property from the previous owner. Kind of a steal. Lastly, he padded off the land as level as possible so we can lay out with spray paint exactly where this house is going. The padding process was the biggest visual change to our project this far. Watching the loader clean up the property was poetry in motion after the effort we put in to get this job started. Now, it's not long until we're digging a hole.
Next time on Let's Build a House.
Tapping with my fingers